peptides are, in essence, manufactured proteins, right? Mostly we're using compounded pharmacies that have isolated out key peptides that are critical for healing. So it could be based on soft tissue or connective tissue healing, bone healing, skin healing, so collagen production. GLP-1s are peptides, so the medications people are using for weight loss. And so peptides are a big thing. And in a lot of places, there's a lot of great spots for those, right? So I have nothing against peptides. But in the injury world, people keep calling it, hey, can we have a BPC 157 and many of these other peptides that are out there for injury? For us, how we treat in the kind of the what we call these energy-based systems that we use, we're able to produce extraordinary levels of protein synthesis. So let me explain that. So when we're stimulating your tissue, so you come in, say you have a chronically damaged Achilles tendon or a severely torn or maybe chronically damaged plantar fascia, whatever. So the process that's going on now is you're in a degradative state to where your body is unable to heal. So either you have one or two choices. You kind of live with what you got, surgery, or you look at these alternative options. And so when we start using our energy-based systems are based on stimulating mitochondrial activity. And so mitochondrial activity is going to be within the cells that we're treating using our energy-based systems. And so as we're turning on that mitochondrial activity, and we get significant mitochondrial activity to this area. And so like one of the things we use is a laser, and that laser has like a 2.5 diameter aperture. And so people go, oh, well, I'm only going to get that effect. No, once you start stimulating mitochondrial activity, you can have thousands and thousands of mitochondria in a cell, and we're stimulating all of those mitochondria. So once we fill up that cell's mitochondria, they start passing around and sharing, and they do it through these little nanotubules. So we may start in a small area like this, but when we're done, just by stimulating in one area, we're stimulating a very large portion of the tissue with mitochondrial activity, okay? And so in our world, we would say injuries are never here, they're here. And so we want to be able to activate a healing response in a larger way, and our equipment allows for us to do that. So then the second thing is, so if we're getting this massive mitochondrial activity, what does that do? It's producing ATP. And what is ATP doing? It's running the 3D printer. That's called DNA. And that's going to start pumping out all of the proteins that we need. And now we're not guessing at dosages. We're not guessing at which one. Your body has an automatic system that knows exactly what you need and knows exactly the content of proteins that you need, so it can start to build and repair back structure. So if you're going to so people ask all the time, well, can I do peptides while I'm doing this? Well, you can, sure, but why? You're taking a secondary form made through a lab versus your own body system, designing it exactly for your body and exactly for your condition. And when we're doing this, to help understand, the cells we're treating are not just the tissue cells, whether that's for the bone or ligaments or tendons or vascularity or nerves, whatever. We're also treating what's called tissue-specific stem cells. All of our tissues have tissue-specific stem cells, and they lay in what we call the basement membrane, kind of right under the kind of the subcutaneous skin level. And so when we start stimulating that, right? So we're starting stimulating your cell structure, but then also these tissue-specific stem cells. Those tissue-specific stem cells know exactly what to do, right? They have the blueprint. My house burned down. I want my house back. Here's the blueprint. We'll just build the same thing. And that's it. So when we start stimulating those cells, now your body's producing the exact protein you need for that structure, for that nerve, that ligament, that tendon, and that section of it. And then we get this very, very vibrant and robust level of recovery from that. So to understand that this is more accomplishable through these energy-based systems makes it more meaningful, because peptides, if you have hey, I sprained my ankle or I strained a bicep tendon or whatever, throw in something, or I got my elbow, Yeah, that'll calm you down. That'll help with the healing process. That'll buy you some time. That maybe get you, based on the peptides you're using, some decent recovery. But when you're dealing with bigger injuries, when you're dealing with things that are really structurally damaged and are in this degraded state, they're not going to hit the mark for that. And so that's why in our world, even though we like peptides and certainly agree with peptides, we don't need peptides. We we have the super peptide because that's the peptide your own body makes and knows exactly how to make it, and it's being driven by the cell function and specifically this tissue specific stem cells. So you get exactly what you need to recover, and then that's how we achieve not only quality recovery but long-term recovery. We've rebuilt the system back to a very healthy state. So this is going to have a long-term outcome and a long-term longevity because of the quality of healing.